Xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đã trở lại với tập tiếp theo của Life Podcast. Mình là Ánh.
Mình là Thái.
Hy vọng các bạn đã có một tuần thật là làm việc thật vui vẻ và hiệu quả. Trong tập ngày hôm nay thì như bọn mình đã nói từ trước là với nội dung mới của mình sẽ nói về chủ đề cho ngày hôm nay là thẻ tín dụng, credit card và những điều xung quanh liên quan đến việc sử dụng thẻ tín dụng. Thì mình thấy đây là một cái chủ đề hết sức là cần thiết cho đặc biệt là các bạn sinh viên đi du học ở Mỹ, cũng có thể là các nước châu Âu nhưng mình không rõ. Thì bọn mình sẽ chủ yếu là chia sẻ kinh nghiệm của mình về việc sử dụng thẻ tín dụng ở Mỹ, và phần này thì bọn mình sẽ nói bằng tiếng Anh như đã hứa với các bạn. Okay, so credit card. First of all, I wanted to give you a distinction between credit card, which is thẻ tín dụng, and debit card, which is thẻ ghi nợ. Credit card is a card that is issued by a financial company, giving the holder an option to borrow funds, which means that the bank's gonna give you money in advance, and you get to use that money for a month, and then you pay them back at the end of the month, right? And then debit card, or thẻ ghi nợ, that is, it's just like an ATM card that you can use to purchase groceries and everything else. So that's your money putting in the bank, and then you use that card to pay for everything you purchase. And then, so when talking about credit card, there's like a term that is called a credit limit, this is the maximum amount of money of credit that the bank give you. So for me, because I'm so new, my credit card limit is very low. I started out with like $500 credit limit, which means that the bank will give me $500 every month in advance, and I have by the end of the month to pay back the bank no matter how much I use within that $500, and then I'll pay them back by the end of the month. If I couldn't pay them back, I have to pay interest, and we'll talk about this more in the next section. Another very important thing about credit card that makes it so great is because it will evaluate your purchasing responsibility, right? Like how you manage your finance, and the scale that they use is called, here in the States, it's called the FICO score, or people just normally call it credit score. So that is the kind of score that use like a software algorithm to really analyze all your spending habits, and they have like different criteria on what on the level of high to low impact to your credit score. And Ty will talk with you more about what impacts the credit score, but I would just say by here that they will, like a lot of banks, and when you want to even just like to get a phone plan or you want to buy a house, the FICO score is what everyone else is looking at to decide whether or not they would lend you money for you to buy a house, or for you to buy a phone, or even for you to buy your jewelry or whatever it is. And Ty, can you just tell us about what impacts credit score, since it's so important?
Okay, so credit score, it's like Ang said, is basically a number that bank use to see how much they can trust you, how much money they can lend you, and how much interest to charge you. So it's affect everything that you do, from like buying a car to a house, or just getting a credit card, I guess. What impact a credit score? There's a few aspects that impact your credit score. The first thing is credit card utilization, how much you use your credit card. So it's not really proven that you have to use your credit card at a certain limit, but people usually say it's like if you use about 30% your credit limit, or something like that, then people say it's helped build your credit score, but I'm not too sure that it's actually true. For us, I think we recommend you just spend within your limit, like do not spend more than you have, and maybe just keep it at less than 10% utilization of your credit line. I think that's good advice. And the second thing that impact your credit score is your payment history. Are you paying on time or not on time, and how much can you pay every month? Like, can you pay the principal, or you only paying the interest? So that's also impact your credit score. And the third thing that impact your credit score is the credit history. How long have you had this credit line for, and things like that. So people usually recommend you to keep your first credit card open for as long as you can, even if you don't use it. So that's basically established the first year that you have your credit history. So the longer it is, the more trustworthy the bank will see you. So I think it's good to keep it open for as long as you can, even if you don't use it anymore. And another thing that impact your credit score is the amount of hard inquiries that you have on your credit line. So basically, it's like how much credit card and loans are you applying? Because every time you're applying for new credit cards or a new loan, they're gonna inquire hard inquiries on your profile, and that will lower your score. And if you're requesting a lot of loan, they will see you as not as trustworthy to other banks because you're asking for a lot of money from different places. A few other things that also impact your credit score, like total accounts that you have open and things like that. But I think that's not too important. It's basically the other stuff is more important. And that's pretty much it.
Well, total accounts is just like sometimes they look that if you open too many credit cards at the same time, then that means that you're having spending problem, and that could be a red flag for them. But if you don't do it, or if you don't open too many credit cards at the same time, then you'll be fine. And those are very low impact.
Yeah.
And so because credit card is so important, but we want you to have an idea of how, like what are the pros and cons of using credit card, because it could be dangerous too. And you've heard a lot of stories about people going bankrupt because of their credit card bill, and that's actually unfortunately very common here in the States. So basically everywhere else where credit card is offered. So we'll talk about some of the pros and cons of using credit card, and please use it at your discretion. You have to understand what it's for, and why should you take advantage of it, and what should you avoid. So some of the advantages of using a credit card that we could think of are it will reduce the risk of fraud, especially for international students. We tend to travel a lot, and that's when if you use a debit card, then your money, if your money is it's gone, then it's pretty much gone for good. It's very hard for you in that case to get your money back. But if you use a credit card, the beauty of it is that that's the money that the bank you borrow from the bank. So it's not your money just yet, right? So when there's a fraud, the bank has the responsibility to, has a responsibility to let you know as soon as they can, because that's their money. So, and that helps reduce the risk of using the card, because it's not your money yet. So if you lose it, you talk to the bank, call the bank, and, hey, I have a weird purchase on my report. Can you check it? I did not make the purchase. Then the bank will stop that purchase for you and will refund you the money. So that's it's one of I've been in that situation before, and I did not lose my money because they used a credit card instead of a debit card. Also, there's a lot of programs and how they call it, like options for you to use a credit card to get cash back. Sometimes, like with I think Ty's card, like Chase card, he could have like up to 3% to 5% of cash back for every purchase he made on groceries and gas and restaurants or something like that. Or you have other reward cards that like earn you points when you travel. So the more you travel, the more points you have, and those points can be used toward purchasing plane tickets or booking hotels. So by using credit cards, you actually get a part of your money back as well, which is great. And normally you need to have like an average credit score to get there. So I'm still working on mine, but those are the options that that make credit card a very attractive option. And the most important thing about using credit card is that you need to have credit card to have credit score, because as we mentioned before, people will look at your credit score for everything you do. To purchase a car, to buy a house, to even just to buy a phone or anything you do. People will look at your credit score. And using credit card is the only way for you to get a credit score, unfortunately. There's no other way. So you need it, and and if you are responsible and you have very high credit score, you can know for sure that the interest on your mortgage will be lower. Interest to buy a car will be a lot lower. There's a lot of perks of having a good credit score as well. And in order to do that, it's by getting a credit card. So those are some of the advantages of getting a credit card. And now Ty will share with us some of the disadvantages of using credit card.
So for credit card, there's actually not that many disadvantages, but it's really big disadvantages if you have to keep in mind. So the first thing and the most important thing is they charge really high interest if you cannot pay your balance at the end of the month. Usually credit card company charge from 14% to 24% interest on your principal. Depends on what credit score you have when you signed up. So our advice is to spend within your means and do not spend more that you can pay at the end of the month. That way you can still take advantage of all the pros and you're not going to have interest at the end of the month from the bank. Another cons is if you cannot pay on time, they charge you a late fees, and usually this is a percentage of whatever balance you have left on your account, so it can be pretty high, and it's also reduce your credit score if you pay late. And the last con that we can think of is it makes it a little bit too easy to spend money. And then, when you have your first credit card, it seems like it's your money, right? The bank tell you, oh, you have like $5,000 to spend. And it feel like it's all own money, you can go and spend that, but it's actually not your money, it's the bank money. So you have to keep that in mind when you have credit card, to make sure to spend within your means and try not to spend more than you have to.
Sometimes, you want to buy something so badly, and the credit card's right there. You see that balance in your account. I have $5,000. I can easily afford this. And then by the end of the month, you couldn't pay the balance, and that's
Right.
when the interest and the late fee come in, and then you'll be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And 5 months later, the interest you are paying is probably just as much as the items you were purchasing worth. So it's totally not worth it, and we'll highly recommend to be very to be aware of that, and be very conservative with your spending, especially when you first start out. And live within your means would be like a perfect strategy when it comes to using credit card. And so the next question you might have is where to get those credit cards. So when I first got here to the States, in my where I went to school, Chase Bank is the most popular one. So I just got a Chase Bank account, and I didn't get a credit card at the time. I got a debit card, but it was with the major banks. So it's the same with credit card. You wanted to get it with a major banks, because they will report your purchase to the three credit unions, to the three credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. So those are the three companies that's gonna do your credit report, and you want to make sure that whatever banks you choose, ask them who do they report to, who do they report your credit to, and how often do they do so. So you want to make sure that they do it every month to all three major credit bureaus. And other banks that come to mind is Capital One is a good one, Bank of America, Wells Fargo's. What else?
Citibank. That's pretty much American Express and Discover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are the major banks that you want to get your credit card from. So those are pretty much like the important things of knowing about credit card, and why is it important for everyone to have a credit card. I know that in Vietnam we're not used to using credit card very much, but I think it's the future. It's going to be a cashless economy sooner or later. So I think being familiar with this concept is important, especially if you plan on going to the States or staying here for a long time. Then this is extremely important. So just to tell you a little stories about our journey to getting a credit card, we can share with you our stories as well. So I'll go first because mine's pretty short. I got mine. This is the main reason why I wanted to bring this topic, because I got mine way too late. So I went to the States a few years ago. Going to school, I did not feel like I didn't know about credit card. Nobody tells me that I need a credit card, so I didn't get one. And then fast forward 3 years later, I get out of school and I got a job here in the States, and I need to find a place to stay in a new city. And unlike when I was in school, I stay on campus, so they don't really check your credit card or anything. So that topic has never been brought up. So I never even thought of it. But then when I was trying to, because here you want to rent an apartment, you have to fill out an application, and they have to run your background check and your credit card the report. And I had no report. I had no credit, right? So I couldn't rent a lot of places just because of that. No place will take me. They will take someone with a low credit score, but not someone with none. I have nothing. So, and then I want to go and buy a phone, a contract phone, AT&T or Verizon or whatever. And I got declined as well because I don't have credit card. And that's when I realized I need a credit card. I need a credit score, and start viewing and that's when I start learning more about credit card and know what it's all about. And I wish I had done it a lot earlier, because right now it takes time. Like Ty said before, one of the impacts of having a credit score they will look at is the credit history, right? How long you have your credit card, and that have a very high impact. So I did not have any of that. I'm still I have just started out 6 months in. I got my credit card. It's a secure card at first with a capital one. What it means by a secure credit card is that you put in your own money, and that will become your credit line, which is like the maximum amount of money that you can spend a month, and then you go from there. And then once the banks feel like you're responsible with your money, they will change that into a regular credit card, and that's when they report to the credit bureaus, and that's when you start building your credit card. So if I have a chance to go back in time, I would definitely start out with a secure card and start building my credit as soon as I can, because it's very important, especially here in the States, for whatever you want to do. And that's pretty much my story. So the moral of the story is get a credit card as soon as you can and be responsible.
Okay, so I guess my turn to share my story. Since I was here from high school, I kind of know what a credit card was, and I kind of know the importance of having one. So I started building my credit line when I was in college. So first I get a secure card, and then just go from there. So it's been a while, and I still have my original. No, the secure card I closed, but the card right after the secure card I still have it open. So I try to keep it open as long as I can. So for now I have a bunch of credit card for different purpose. I have one from Discover and the Chase Freedom. So those are the rotating categories. So every quarter they have a bonus categories where you can get extra 5% off on your purchase. So I use them, depends on what bonus categories each card has. So because they all it's either similar or a little bit different. So for example, the Discover one can have discount on gas, and then the Chase one have discount on groceries. So I just use them accordingly. And then I also have one from Citibank for Costco membership. There's the Costco CD card. So that one is really good because you get extra 2% off for purchase at Costco, and you get 4% off on gas anywhere. So I use that for gas when the other one doesn't have the 5% off bonus. And then I do a lot of purchase on Amazon as well. So I have another one from Chase for Amazon where you get 5% back. And then I have another card from Chase, which is the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. This is a travel card basically, and then you can combine points from other Chase card into the same pool. For example, the Chase Freedom card, you can put it in the same pool as the Chase Sapphire card, and this card gives you 3% back on restaurant and travel. And they have really generous definition of restaurant and travel. For example, like if you take a taxi or Uber or whatever, that's count toward the 3% cashback, so it's really good. And this one, you can either take your point out as cashback reward at 1 cent per point, or you can use your point through Chase Portal to like buy travel ticket or hotel reservation, and you get extra 50% value on top of your points. So for example, you have 100,000 point, you want to take that out as money, it's worth $1,000. But if you book it use it to book travel, then you get $1,500 worth. So this card is really useful for me because I travel sometimes for work, and I can use my own credit card to pay for the ticket and get reimbursement. So it's really useful to get points that way. So yeah, those are the cards that I currently have. So I have a bunch of them, but I use them for a different purpose, and then I try to make sure that I pay off at the end of the month for all of them.
Yeah, and that's my plan as well, to get some more of those cashback and reward cards for different different type of purchasing. But at the same time, like the most important thing about using credit card is that, especially when you start out, is that you have to be patient. I've done a lot of research, so I haven't made any mistakes so far, and my credit card score is going up very nicely. And all because I've done my research, I've done my due diligence. I asked people who know about it, like Thai, and and have a very clear plan of when do I need to get the next card. Because like we said before, if you open too many at the same time, it will affect your credit score as well. So be patient, do your due diligence, do as much of research as you can before you get a first credit card, and you build your credit from there, and enjoy the benefits of them.
Yep.
All right, so let us know what you think about this type of topics, and if the information is useful for you, or if you have any other recommendations for us. But we hope to bring you more of these more in-depth information on what you really need when you go study abroad, and not just in school but elsewhere, but like in your everyday life as well. So we hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you again in the next 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.